difficult days?
I actually don't. So if I'm having a hard time or I'm having a hard day or I need some space, I take it. I think that there's this really dangerous hustle grind, no pain, no gain mentality in the entrepreneurial space in general, but real estate specifically. And when I'm having a bad day or I feel like I need time for me, then I take it. And I'm at a point also, I have to be aware that I have a really fantastic team. They're super supportive. So if I say, hey guys, I need a Jess day, they're usually like, okay, fine. The other thing that has always helped me is I'm incredibly reflective. So if something's going on with me, sometimes it's okay just to be sad. Sometimes it's okay to just, not be having a great day. But a lot of the time it stems from something that I haven't dealt with. So a lot of the time just kind of figuring out what that is and then, dealing with it, or, giving myself some grace to go through whatever it is that I need to go through usually is really helpful. I also journal every day. And sometimes I journal for 30 minutes. Sometimes I journal for 3 hours. It really depends on the day and it depends on how much I feel like I need to process. A lot of the time when I get caught up in my head, I can sort it out on a page. And I found that has been something that has absolutely changed the game for me. I can recognize my own responsibility for how I'm feeling. And I've learned over time how to shift my own mental space. I think a lot of the time people bottle things up and they hide things down without realizing that at some point they bubble up. At some point it's gonna come out, and it's gonna come out worse than if you just dealt with it at the time. So, I'm not saying that, we don't all need mental health days, we do, but, a constant routine of self-care is really important. And self-care doesn't mean having a bubble bath every day. Self-care means doing the work so that you are in a good place on a regular basis and you have the ability to shift your state. My journal is a place that I just dump everything, right? And I think that that's also, I think school teaches us to organize our thoughts before we put them down. And a lot of the time it keeps us from being able to actually process or get to that next level of thinking where we feel like we have to think before we write. So a lot of what I do when I journal it's just called free journaling. Whatever is coming into my brain, it's like stream of consciousness journaling. And a lot of the time, just like writing slows you down. So the act of just writing the stuff that's coming into my head allows me to more slowly think through it. So from a business standpoint, I have found new business models that we've shifted to that have worked better. I've found, I've come to conclusions about team members that were a fit or weren't a fit in my journal. I've come up with, ideas or, dreams even, right? The Listings Lab Live, which is like my favorite thing that we do every year, it came from a journal entry. Because I realized that I'd built this beautiful thing online, but I wanted to hug my people. And I realized that after so many years of feeling and identifying as an introvert, there was a little bit of extrovert in me that still wanted to be around the people that I was helping. And that's where the Listings Lab Live came out of. Literally from a journal entry to, okay, we need to create something so that we can be in the same room together. It's absolutely amazing the genius that is in your head if you just let it out. And I think that we're so structured about the way that we work and the way that we think, and school has taught us to formulate our thoughts completely before we write or before we compose or whatever. And that is the case in most places, but your journal is a place to just let it out. I go back and I read some of my journal entries sometimes and I'm like, this chick's crazy because this makes no sense. But then I get somewhere and I'm like, okay, now I get where I was going here, but it's not linear. And so that's why I think that, journaling as a practice has been so helpful for me. My motivation comes from a lot of different things. A lot of the time it's just the people that I serve. But, sometimes it's what's coming up at some point during that day. There are days that I wake up and I see that I have 2 podcasts on my calendar and I'm excited about it. And there are other days that I wake up and I see that there's 2 podcasts on my calendar and I wish that they weren't there, right? So I think that it really comes around to, am I having fun? And I am having fun. And I'm doing something that I really like and I'm having a good time doing it. And I don't have a lot of space for other people's drama. And I don't have any drama of my own, right? So, you know, I don't allow other people to create any toxicity here. And that's taken me years and years and years to get to a point where I can do that. But it is a practice. And so I don't wake up in the morning stressed out anymore. I wake up in the morning either excited for what I have going on that day, or just, you know, excited and open to the opportunity of like, okay, what magic's gonna happen today? Because there is some every day. And that's something that I've worked on with my coach for a long time too, is this openness and this ability to be awed. How much awe can you actually experience? And I think that it's really opened my eyes to how much synchronicity there is in the world and how amazing it is to be able to do what I do. And, you know, what I'm doing every day is like, there's people out there who could only dream of it. And it's the same thing for where you are in your life right now, right? There's someone who is working to be where you are. And so there's an element of gratitude too that also, you know, is at the baseline of it. Brené Brown says, you know, gratitude is the pathway to joy. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And again, that's one of the things that I go through in my journal almost every day is, you know, what are 3 things, even if I'm in like the pits of despair, what are 3 things that I can be grateful for? So I think that there's just, you know, it's consistency. It's consistency with the things that are good and not giving so much weight to the things that aren't.